Hello everyone. I don't know why I left my arm there after pressing record, but it doesn't matter. This is my WandaVision episode 5 review. It's Lewis, by the way, but you know that already. This episode was called a very special episode, and there's a good reason for that. If you don't fully get that reference, then that's fine. I will explain it now. It's kind of an 80s into the 90s kind of vibe to this episode, and a very special episode was a thing that a lot of American sitcoms back then used to do, where they'd have an episode where they want to teach the younger viewers about like drugs or death or something like that, like a serious thing, and it'll be billed as like a very special episode, and then they kind of, the episode would take kind of a more serious turns. Then the kids watching it would kind of go, oh, okay, I've learnt that about life now. And I knew that going in, but I didn't quite clock what was going to happen in this one, and that annoyed me a little bit. Not because of the episode, but because of my own lack of recognition. So before we start, spoilers. If you haven't watched the episode yet, don't watch this, or do, but don't get mad at me if I spoil it, because I've warned you. I have. So yeah, I really like this episode. I think this is getting better every week as things are becoming clearer and things are making more sense and they're doing more things. I think it's just, I'm really liking it. I'll go back to my previous point, but we got Catherine Hahn back again, which is great, which I always love. As I've mentioned every single review I've done, she is brilliant. I like her in everything she does, and she's fantastic in this show. And she's definitely a much bigger part than is initially realised. But again, I won't say anything more than that in case people aren't familiar with this character as such, the character she probably is. I like the little bit about how she wanted to, if Wanda to retake her line, because they've gone all in on the whole Wanda is controlling everything now, and Vision gets more and more suspicious throughout this episode, which is pretty cool. The twins start off as babies, and then suddenly they're all grown up again. The opening intro, which I really like. I like when they have like the catchy theme song, and this one again wasn't as upbeat as a normal, but it fits the era perfectly. And the pictures of young Wanda, which I'm guessing were actual pictures of Elizabeth Olsen when she was younger, and the pictures of young Vision were amazing. I forgot about it the first time I watched it. When I watched it again the second time, I was like, yeah, I've got to make a note of that, because the pictures of Vision as a baby and a child made me laugh so much. They're incredible. But yeah, so the twins grow up suddenly because they're babies, and then they're 5 years old, and then we cut back to the real world, and they fill us in on some of the stuff that we've missed. So they show Wanda stealing Vision's body, or his, whatever you call it, from the sword lab where he was being held, and they made it clear that Vision's wish was to not be brought back to life because he didn't want to be a weapon for anyone. But she's obviously in her grief taking him, and they go into the whole thing, and they sow a little seed of the sword director. I can't remember his name now, but they sow a little seed of him kind of being in it for his own gain, and the other characters, Monica Rambeau, who is brilliant as well. What a great character she is. She's very just confident and on the ball kind of thing. But then she's a girl who's known space aliens since she was a little kid, so she's going to be pretty forthcoming. So yeah. But they sow a little seed there where you can kind of, the directors, as is typical with these things, like with Shield in the past, like he's kind of got his own sort of motive, like with Nick Fury and Shield, and now with this chap in Sword. Again, I can't remember his name. That's annoying me. But so this is the bit where I should have. And this isn't the big talking point in the episode, but for me it is. They introduced a little dog called Sparky, and anyone who knows me knows that I'm an animal lover, in particular dogs. And so when they first introduced the dog, that gets me straight away, especially because Sparky was the name of Vision's dog in the 2018 Tom King series, The Vision, where Vision creates his own family in the suburbs, which is partly what this was inspired by in terms of the tone and that kind of thing. But Vision built his own little green dog called Sparky, who's a little robot dog, and if I remember right, it doesn't end well for the dog in the comic series. But me being me, I didn't think about that, did I? But anyway, we introduced Sparky. They have a little thing as to why they named him Sparky. It was kind of like in Smallville when they introduced Crypto, and then they say, we should call him Crypto because of his cryptic past. And then they go, nah, that's stupid, let's just call him Shelby. Just give him a normal name. But yeah, the kids age themselves up again to 10, and then we get a bit more kind of exposition stuff with they start calling it the Hex, like the dome, which is cool because Wanda's powers in the comics have always been referred to as like Hex powers and stuff like that. And we learn about, we get a mention of Thanos and how Wanda nearly defeated him, and then they mention Captain Marvel, but Monica Rambeau quickly moves on from that because she knows Captain Marvel, and then we get the whole thing about Wanda reconstituting matter that comes into the domes, and then they have the idea of sending in the drone that was from the 80s and that kind of thing, so it stays the same, doesn't get changed and that kind of thing. But then we see more of Vision starting to be suspicious, and him talking to the townspeople, like who they really are, kind of thing. But I like the whole thing with Wanda coming out of the hex and confronting the sword agents, because she's very, very intimidating, and rightfully so. They're all quite afraid of her. And I like that she had her accent again, because I think Elizabeth Olsen really is not getting enough appreciation for this, because she's playing this whole sitcom thing perfectly, but then also when she comes out, she's in the real world, she's Wanda again, like normally, and she's got a Sokovian accent kind of thing, kind of generic sort of accent, but it's and I like that when she's in the sitcom world that she's imagined being, she's just an American, she's got her normal, probably her real life accent, I would imagine, Elizabeth Olsen's accent. The advert was good, the Lagos advert, or Lagos, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, because that was referring to the incident in Civil War when Wanda accidentally killed a bunch of people, and that was what kicked off the Civil War and the Sokovian Accords and that kind of thing. I like the advert was again the same woman and man who have been in all the previous adverts. I don't know if they're going to end up being someone. I'm assuming they probably are. The theory is that they're Wanda and Pietro's parents. But I like that the Lagos advert was for like the paper towels or whatever it was, that was for cleaning up messes, which, Wanda made a big mess when she killed all these people that they then had to clean up. So I'm guessing that was the intention there. But then we get to the sad bit. I'm probably not going to start crying, so I think we'll be okay. If you're into that, keep watching. They find Sparky after he got out, and Agnes has him all wrapped up, because she said that he got into her bushes and ate something he shouldn't have, which killed him. But for me, that's a little bit suspicious, because Agnes has more going on, so I don't know if she was possibly responsible, because then there's a great bit, which I think Elizabeth Olsen was really good, where she talks to the children about how you have to accept death and you can't just ignore these things, which is kind of like, she's almost talking to herself, because this whole thing is her dealing with grief and her dealing with death, and how now she's saying that to her kids, like, you can't make yourself older again to get away from this, you've got to deal with it. But then Agnes's ears prick up when the kids say, can't you fix death? And so again, that probably fits into whatever her possible ulterior motives are. Again, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. And then we get the whole big thing with Wanda and Vision, where Vision figures out basically what's going on, and they have this argument, and Wanda tries to make it end the episode. So you see the credits going down as they're arguing, which is really, really cool. And then the big thing after their big argument at the end is the knock on the door. And obviously when she opens the door, it's supposedly her long lost brother Pietro. But we know as the viewer that Aaron Taylor Johnson was Pietro in Age of Ultron, and this is Evan Peters, I think his name, pretty confident that's his name, who played the same character but in a different franchise. So if you don't know, I'm sure if you're watching this you probably do, but he was Pietro in the X-Men movie franchise from Fox, which is until now has been a completely separate thing, but now Disney own all of that. It's theorised that they'll start to bring them together, and this is the first kind of way we've seen that happen. And whether this is just a little like nod, or whether this is the beginning of a bigger thing, like a multiverse kind of thing, which is obviously happening, because one of the next films, the Doctor Strange film, literally has the word multiverse in the title, and the next Spider-Man film is theorised to have that sort of thing as well. But it was quite a nice little thing. I don't know whether they've done this as just a little reference, or whether it is going to be like the beginning of something bigger. But they do reference that he has been recast in the context of the show, as they say, and he was kind of playing it differently to the way he was in the films, because Wanda wasn't really in the X-Men films. I think in the last one, Pietro had a little sister. Whether it was Wanda, I don't know, because they might not have been twins if there's an age difference there. But they do acknowledge that Magneto is Pietro's father in the X-Men films, but obviously that's not been a thing in the Marvel cinematic universe. Whether that's gonna, it's all different possibilities there. And he was playing it kind of differently, I think. I haven't watched those X-Men films in a long time, and Pietro was quite a comical character, but he was playing it like you would play a long lost brother in an old sitcom. Like he was kind of just the way he sort of came across, kind of thing. Which I thought was really cool. And there's all sorts of theories, because he's not part of Wanda's control. So there's a lot of people saying different things about where he's come from and what this means. So it's really interesting. It's a really good way to end the episode, because it leaves a lot to talk about, and it really leaves me looking forward to next week. So I think that was episode 5, so I think we've got 4 left still, so we've got quite a way to go, but it's quite exciting, interesting seeing it build. So I think it's getting better every week. really good, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, but yeah, thank you for watching. This has been quite a long one, but we've got a lot to get through. So please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, and thank you very much. Leave a comment below with your thoughts. Thank you. See you soon. Take care.